It's a good opportunity really to be here and talk to a lot of people who are dealing with patients at the forefront, doing research to develop novel drugs and bring in a different perspective, the perspective of the health economics community, those who are responsible for really helping making difficult choices, whether or not a particular drug is worth the money that is being charged to the healthcare system, but also for whom sometimes it's not always a yes or no decision. Sometimes those decisions relate to patient subgroups. And my talk really will attempt to help the audience familiarize themselves with the issues of health technology assessment for decision making in a budget limited environment like many NHS, national health systems in the UK, in Italy and many other countries across Europe. The idea is really to help them see how in our world, the world of those helping HTA decisions, we look at the information that is provided by clinical trials and also highlight where there may be some issues to improve upon, particularly aspects relating to the misalignment between the design of standard clinical trials and their utilization for supporting decision making. Well, you and many of the audience will be quite familiar with the terminology around personalized medicine and precision medicine, as they like to call it in the US. And there are many other terms out there like person-centered medicine or person-centered healthcare, because healthcare is a lot more than simple medicines. And it's true that it will be more challenging, but the future, if we are able to disentangle who benefits the most from what, we will be able to actually minimize the waste of resources, i.e. avoiding giving treatments to individuals who are not going to benefit from it, also sparing them unnecessary toxicity and side effects. And by doing that, we'll be able to maximize population health and at the same time use the limited resources in much more efficient terms. Well, I'm not a doctor, a clinical doctor, so I'm kind of find difficult to comment on that because I don't really know the extent to which overtreatment is an issue in multiple myeloma. And certainly, if it's a similar issue as other areas that I know a little bit better, clearly the more diagnostics you carry out, the more there is an opportunity to find something. And my understanding is that there may be some type of cancers that never actually manifest themselves into full cancer. So I'm really now venturing outside my area of expertise, and but overtreatment might be an issue. However, there are clinical guidelines that a lot of countries develop really to help with that sort of concerns. With the advent of personalized medicine, we will see a lot of more medicines that are target medicines. There will be also development of companion diagnostics that go with them. There are issues to resolve around the reimbursement of these diagnostics and the evaluations, whether they need to be evaluated together with the drug they're supposed to work with or independently. And also who will fund those diagnostics. That's another big issue from the health policy point of view. Inevitably, there will be a learning process from the regulator point of view, but also from the developer's point of view. The industry is exploring a new area, but also regulators are exploring a new area because the current health technology assessment framework is being developed for the blockbuster drugs, where we are looking at big sample size, large studies, and therefore the decisions are often looking at the average patient. Nowadays, with the new era of personalized medicine, we are no longer looking at the average patient. Every single individual is a stratum in the stratification process of treatment decision, and therefore it becomes much more challenging. The question is, how do we define those strata? And that's very much a clinical question. Absolutely, absolutely. There will be, I mean, chronic conditions are on the rise because we are all living longer. At the same time, we have an economic climate where a lot of economies are slowing down, there is less consumption, less taxation, and therefore there will be limited budgets to fund novel treatments. So there may be need to develop novel instruments for identifying value for money, but also novel instrument for developing some of these novel technologies. There is a lot of pressure towards accelerated market access nowadays. That means, though, that we will probably see a lot more products coming through the pipeline and are landing onto the licensing and reimbursement authorities' desks, with the evidence that might not be of the same quality or robustness that we have been used to for a long time. There are pros and cons, obviously, with that. The pros, obviously, are that patients will have much more rapid access. For the industry, there may be a benefit, obviously, in reaching the market quickly, but there are also greater risks because the uncertainty associated with things like the long-term benefits of a drug, the duration of treatment effects, and whether or not there are some complications and side effects that haven't been observed as part of these initial trials is something that we will need to deal with. So my expectation is that we'll probably need some paradigm change in the way we generate evidence. It's no longer clinical trials alone. There will need to be a much more coherent and coordinated effort in evidence generation. And health economics can help a great deal in that sense because it can guide the decisions relating to what are the right studies to carry out, what is the key parameters to inform certain considerations related to the cost effectiveness of an intervention.